His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa met with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, at 10 Downing Street. His Royal Highness highlighted the strength of the relations between Bahrain and the UK, a partnership built on more than 200 years of close cooperation and strategic partnership across all levels. He emphasized Bahrain's unwavering commitment to deepening bilateral relations and advancing joint initiatives that align with the kingdom's comprehensive development goals, led by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. His Royal Highness noted the importance of leveraging strategic partnerships to further common goals and aspirations. His Royal Highness emphasized the UK's prominent role alongside allied countries in promoting security, peace and development both in the region and globally. He underscored Bahrain's support for regional and international efforts aimed at fostering peace and stability whilst maintaining security, which is vital for sustained development that benefits all. During the meeting, topics of common interest, ways to enhance bilateral cooperation, and important regional and global issues were discussed. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, the Ambassador of Bahrain to the UK, Sheikh Fawaz bin Mohammed bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, and the Director General of the Prime Minister's Office, Hamad bin Yaqub Al Mahmeed, also attended the meeting. The Kingdom of Bahrain has close historical ties with the United Kingdom that span more than 200 years and are based on mutual respect and the promotion of common interests. More on this report.
A relationship that extends for more than 200 years and historical partnership between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the United Kingdom reflected in many stations of the history of Bahrain and through the General Treaty of Peace in 1820, which consolidated the alliance and the protection of common interests between the two parties. This relationship was reflected in many aspects and resulted in many joint future visions between the two friendly countries. The qualitative shift in Bahraini-UK relations was formed in early 1935, which represented the beginning of a new political, economic and cultural chapter based on respect and partnership, following the transfer of the main British naval base in the Arabian Gulf to Bahrain, followed by the signing of the Treaty of Friendship between Bahrain and Britain in 1971. The Bahraini-UK partnership has a special character that goes back to common history, especially in the economic, investment and banking sector, as Bahrain is a regional headquarters for a large number of British companies, commercial and financial institutions and banks, with international activity and large capital and investment, which have grown thanks to the ideal economic policies and legislation provided by Bahrain's government for the investment sector. The 21st century witnessed a remarkable development in growth in Bahraini-UK relations, which deepened bilateral partnership and was translated into signing several agreements, cooperation protocols, and MOUs to increase bilateral partnership and coordination in several different fields, including political, diplomatic, security, military, economic, cultural, educational, and other fields.
The National Security Advisor and Commander of the Royal Guard, Lieutenant General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, received Cadet Mohammed Zaid Al Rawai'i on the occasion of graduating from the Royal Military College, Sandhurst. His Highness congratulated Al Rawai'i on his graduation with distinction and receiving the Sword of Honor, which is given to the most distinguished international student in military and academic performance, in addition to receiving the Academic Excellence Award in honor for his efforts and excellence throughout his studying period. His Highness praised the efforts made by Al Rawai'i to graduate from the Academy with distinction, wishing him success in serving the Kingdom. For his part, Cadet Al Rawai'i expressed thanks and appreciation to His Highness for supporting the Bahraini youth in all fields, especially the military field, which motivates the youth to exert more efforts for the advancement of Bahrain. The Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs held its 19th regular meeting chaired by its President, Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa. The Council hailed His Majesty the King's royal order to establish the King Hamad Award for Peaceful Coexistence and affirmed that it is the culmination of His Majesty's noble humanitarian initiatives. The meeting extended congratulations on the Supreme Council of Women's 23rd anniversary, noting its efforts led by Her Royal Highness, the wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Council, to enhance national developments and achievements. The Council welcomed the approval of the results of of the second cohort of the students of the Abdullah bin Khalid College of Islamic Studies for the academic year 2023-2024 and congratulated the graduating students and expressed appreciation for the efforts of the college's Board of Trustees and its administrative and educational bodies. They expressed congratulations on the upcoming start of the new academic year. The council also condemned the continuous Israeli violations against unarmed civilians and innocent people in Gaza and the Palestinian territories, and the repeated provocations to violate Islamic sanctities in Al-Quds al-Sharif and Al-Aqsa Mosque, calling for concerted Islamic and international efforts for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza to stop the violations and to grant the Palestinian people their stolen rights to establish their independent state. The meeting then discussed the topics on the agenda. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Abdullah Fakhro, met with members of the 6th batch of the National Leadership Program, Hyper Youth. The meeting was attended by the Director General of the Institute of Public Administration, Dr. Sheikh Harana bint Isa Al Khalifa, and the Under Secretary of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Iman Al Dosari. The Minister praised the role of Hyper Youth in enriching the experience of Bahraini youth and enabling them to learn about administrative aspects in various sectors, providing them with science and knowledge which contributes to honing their skills and enhancing their competitiveness. He also discussed his own experience in the administrative and leadership field, reviewing the most prominent leadership practices and successes in various fields, especially in the field of government work. Dr. Sheikh Harana then explained that the outstanding national outputs provided by the Hyper Youth program over the past years reflect the importance of training initiatives and programs in developing the leadership skills of Bahraini youth in accordance with the highest standards. She praised the keenness of the minister to convey his administrative and leadership experiences, which will contribute to opening wide horizons for young people by employing successful administrative experiences and practices to come up with new and innovative initiatives and projects that meet the requirements of the current stage and future ambitions. The Tenders Board organized a workshop for government officials participating in the Kawadar Leadership Development Program. The workshop aimed to educate participants on the board's role in the government's procurement process. The Secretary General of the Tender Board, Engineer Jamal Al-Alawi, affirmed the board's keenness to further support national programs aimed at developing a new generation of leaders to enhance the kingdom's sustainable development goals. The meeting reviewed the Tenders Board's role in both government and private sectors, introduced the type of tenders available to government agencies, and discussed the challenges faced by the board with these agencies and strategies to overcome them. In implementation of the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister on the speedy completion of waiting lists for cochlear implants, it was recently announced that the waiting list at Salmaniya Medical Complex were zeroed during the month of August. More in this report. The cochlear implant program at the Ministry of Health is a glimmer of hope for many children and adults with hearing loss, to put a smile on their faces and the faces of their families after regaining the ability to hear, as government hospitals in the kingdom give the utmost importance to this program, which applies the highest international standards for cochlear implants. The government hospitals did their best to implement the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister regarding the speedy completion of the waiting lists for cochlear implants, which resulted in zero waiting lists at Salmaniya Medical Complex in supporting of providing the best levels of health services to patients. The electronic cochlear program was launched in 2001, which carried out more than 329 cases of electronic cochlear implants, which draws a medical achievement by the medical team in Bahrain that confirms the development of the health sector in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And for more about this medical achievement, we are joined by the CEO of Government Hospitals, Dr. Maryam Al-Jalahma, who delivered the following statement.
In accordance with the directions of His Royal Highness Crown Prince Prime Minister to accelerate the cochlear implant surgeries and finalize the waiting list since 2022, the government hospitals have put a plan to finalize the list before the end of this year, 2024. And successfully, we were able to do all the waiting lists and finalize it by August 2024. By accelerating the investigation required, which includes medical resonance x-rays and a full investigation to evaluate whether the child is fit for the cochlear implant or not by increasing the number of days in the theaters allocated for such surgeries and increasing the working hours of the team that are handling the cochlear implant. And so finally we were able to finalize all the list, and by doing so we are able now to give the patient an appointment to do the surgery within 1 week from finishing the required investigation. The cochlear implant surgery definitely changes the lifestyle of the patient. Can you imagine a child that is disconnected from the surrounding is able now to communicate with the family, with the whole community, and be able to practice their life normally? Enhances their chances to gain education and to work and to be an effective community member. Let me tell you that the end of the waiting list or by ending the surgery for a patient is just the start of the journey. It's not the end of the journey, because it requires a lot of rehabilitation with the speech and hearing specialist, and it requires follow-up and maintenance of the device itself. So our relationship with the patient is continuous for lifelong, and this creates a very strong bond between the professionals and the child, which makes us very happy to work together until we see them reach an age where they are very happy practicing their life. So we'd like to thank very much His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Prime Minister, for all the support we got to reach this target.
The Supreme Committee for General Supervision of Elections announced that the deadline for submitting waiver requests to run in the by-election for the 1st District of Muharraq Governorate is August 28th. Candidates may waive their nomination by submitting a written notice on the designated form to the Supervisory Committee at least 10 days before Election Day. This notice must include a copy of their identity card and a copy of the nomination receipt. Tamkeen signed 2 agreements with Gulf Air to support the training of Bahrainis as pilots and aviation engineers. The agreements aim to further enhance the qualification of national cadres by training 50 Bahrainis as second co-pilots and 24 in aviation engineering, contributing to quality job creation in the aviation sector. This initiative continues as part of Tamkeen's support, which has already trained 110 pilots in the field. The UN 2023 country results report for Bahrain confirms that the kingdom is on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. More on this report.
The Kingdom of Bahrain has always been keen to implement its plans to achieve sustainable development goals and enhance its global reputation. The United Nations 2023 country results report for Bahrain indicated that the kingdom continues to improve in many aspects that show its progress and leadership in several areas. The report confirmed that Bahrain ranks high in the Human Development Index in challenges, as it has the ability to serve as an incubator for innovation and generate the best practices for global policies, programs and practices for sustainable development. In combating trafficking in persons, the report indicated that more than 100 frontline workers in 7 sectors have been trained as trainers in 2021. The year 2023 saw an acceleration in implementing the global plan A Decade of Action, as the kingdom seeks to play a key role as a catalyst for the best practices in the globally important field, especially as it is one of the countries that work to ensure a better protection and occupational health and safety for migrant workers and domestic workers throughout the year. According to the report, Bahrain strengthened coordination for gender equality in its work with the UN by empowering women through the UN country program, noting that key stakeholders in the private sector are more aware of opportunities to increase women's participation and leadership. The report emphasized that Bahrain fulfilled its obligations under international environmental treaties and protocols by updating national legislation on ozone-depleting substances and phasing out HCFCs, and that 2024 will see the implementation of a mangrove retention project and other projects in various sectors. That confirms Bahrain is on a steady path towards achieving sustainable development goals.
The Labour Markets Regulatory Authority, the LMRA, conducted 1,714 inspection campaigns from August 18th to the 24th of 2024, resulting in the arrest of 45 workers for violations and the deportation of 181 violators. The authority confirmed ongoing coordination with government agencies to intensify inspection campaigns across all governorates, addressing violations that could negatively influence the labour market stability, competitiveness, and the kingdom's economic and social security. The LMRA renewed its call for all members of society to support government efforts to address illegal labour practices and irregular employment, emphasizing the need to protect society as a whole.